the piano. Perhaps you too, on memorable occasions, have come under its spell. Its power at times seems magical. Does the piano have a rival in the world of art that can so easily lift and even transport us? Thousands of inspired and energetic musicians have explored the musical and emotional possibilities of the piano, only to discover they are limitless. Perhaps you are interested in some musical excursions of your own. If so, the Piano for Life series is designed just for you. We promise it won't be anything like what you might expect. Those who have traveled the farthest in the enchanted world of the piano have left us some pretty good directions. Not just for the professionals, but for all of us. Let's take a look. Maybe we can make it much farther than we ever imagined.
Hi, I'm Mark Almond, and I will be your host for the Piano for Life series. Thank you for joining us. We hope this series enables you to build an ideal foundation for your future progress as an accomplished pianist. Our goal has always been to present a complete and balanced approach, in harmony with traditional instruction, and yet at the same time incorporating insights and recommendations from the greatest pianists in history. Many of the great pianists were also great teachers, and they are the ultimate authorities on learning to play the piano. Some of their recommendations will surprise you. Now, before we begin, allow me to show you just a few things at the keyboard so we can stay together during the upcoming lessons. Let's look at this chord sequence. This is typical of what pianists do, a very simple pattern, and yet all kinds of ways we can play it. My thumb is on F, and I'll say something about the names of the keys in just a few minutes. Skip a white key each time, and you heard me break it from the top to the bottom, the highest pitch to the lowest pitch. In fact, I broke it twice before I moved it right next door. Here's the same pattern with the white keys right below each of the ones we just played. Again, it moves. The same problem for the hand exactly. Now what we do is we expand on patterns like these just to intimidate people and make it look like we're geniuses. Here we go, same exact chord in the left hand with the F on the bottom, every other white key. Now when we start amplifying or expanding what we're doing, there's all kinds of possibilities. Somebody may play this chord with the left hand. Lots of notes, but it all came from that pattern. Here it is again. Both hands have the same chord. Sounds very complicated, very interesting musically, but look what it came from. Now this is a symbol. This is an example of the entire series of lessons. Yes, later on we will look at efficient ways of reading music, traditional sight reading, but first we're going to build a foundation of understanding what's going on the keyboard in terms of the patterns. We will look at simple building blocks that set us up to understand all of the chords that come in the future as we get to the more complex chords. Now I will be using the pedal. You see how that sustains the sound? It holds it for as long as I want it until I play the next chord. Then of course it has to come up or else the old chord will clash with the new chord. Now, if I play something off of your screen, off of your television screen or computer screen, it always makes sense with the chord we're using at the time. We're designing all of these lessons as private lessons, so even I don't know what I'm going to do next. I'll just teach just like I'm teaching a class, and hopefully we can keep the screen, we can keep the view of the keyboard compatible with what I'm playing. But if not, if I play something off of your screen, it always makes sense with the chord pattern. And that's actually a good example of the principle to keep in mind, that you will not be able to see all of the details. Remember when I played the broken pattern? That's way too fast to see what's happening, but you know what notes I'm using because I've already shown you the chord pattern. And that's how it'll always work. If something happens too quickly to see the details, you will still understand by the chord structure we're working on at the time, you will still know what notes are being played. Now, if I use a fingering where I curl my fingers under to show you that I'm playing a 3-note chord, that doesn't mean it's a good idea to play that way, unless you're teaching someone and you want to emphasize that you're playing a 3-note chord. But if you're actually playing, a relaxed hand position is the best, and you'll see that if I make some exceptions as an instructor, you'll notice as you watch me play that it won't be that way. Now, I will play some tunes all the way through. I always get complaints from students that say we never get to hear a song all the way through. You always stop and interrupt the music and teach something. So I will put at the end of some of the videos or your CD-ROM or whatever form you're watching, I will put some entire pieces, and perhaps I even will put some in where you can watch the hands. Now the last point is, if you know your key names, you will be able to stay up with everything we do. If you don't have instant recognition of the names of the keys, you will struggle. You'll have a hard time keeping up until they become automatic. Now that's not hard to do, we're not going to do it for you, but remember, there are 8 A's on the piano and they're all in the same place. And when you look at it, there's only 7 white keys to learn. B's all look the same, they're all above 3, and most of you know this, but if you don't have instant recognition, if you have to count up from A to find your C or find your D, because they are in alphabetical order, but if you're dependent on alphabetical order, then you will have trouble keeping up until each white key is an individual, until it becomes a friend of yours, and you recognize that it has a physical appearance all its own if you look at the black keys. Refer each white key to its position against the black keys. Only F's can be below the 3 blacks. And each white key is similar. They all have unique positions. Now the black keys are a little bit harder to make automatic because they borrow their names from 2 white keys. This black key can be a C sharp because it's up from the C, or it can be called a D flat. And don't take for granted, even if you've played for a while or had lessons, don't take for granted that you know all your black keys without hesitation. I played for a long time, I'm embarrassed to say how long, but when I came back to the piano in my late teens, I played for a long time, almost 2 years, before I realized that this black key could be called A sharp. I always thought of it in terms of B flat. But each black key has 2 names, and it will cause a problem if I say play an E flat chord, and you have to stop and think about, well, where's E flat at? Yeah, it's down from E, but can you picture it as the upper of the 2 blacks as soon as I say E flat? Or if I say D sharp, same picture, upper of the 2 blacks. So that will take some work. Do that on your own if you need to. If not, you will be able to follow everything we do. There's no problem understanding the patterns that we will be learning. So try some of these key names if you need to. If not, our next session will be an overview of how music works.